What if all of your assumptions about the connection between Lil Scrappy and Bambi were incorrect? What if there was a huge secret that terrified Scrappy to his very core, hidden beneath Instagram reels and reality TV smiles? Now that that secret has suddenly come to light, is Lil Scrappy sobbing in front of everyone? The beginning of the scandal. What truly transpired between Lil Scrappy and Bambi at a time when fans believed their turbulent romance was finally coming to a close? As we explore the reality behind the headlines in today's film, we'll see how the supposed hidden child of Bambi rocked Lil Scrappy's world and what that implies for their already tense relationship. We'll look into Bambi's secret timeline and how it was kept a secret for so long, the emotional toll it took on Scrappy that was caught on camera, the internet's outburst, and the true reason this might be the last straw for an already shaky relationship. A love story, or at least the appearance of one, of Little Scrappy and Bambi Benson. Both reality TV veterans who were previously praised as one of Love and Hip Hop's most durable couples existed before the public breakdown, before the trending hashtags, and before the internet erupted in suspicions of treachery. Hold on to your popcorn because this video will show you why it's more than just drama. It's a full-fledged emotional roller coaster. Prior to the public outcry, however, fans supported them through their highs and lows, including highly public arguments, brief splits, and family trouble, as they depicted a couple who had battled for their relationship in everything from reality, TV moments to Instagram vows of love. Shortly after the couple welcomed their first child together, they were married in 2017. His gentle heart and rugged demeanor earned him a reputation for loyalty, in spite of his previous entanglements and tumultuous relationships. He seemed to have the same energy as Bambi, the powerful, no-nonsense queen who questioned his choices and encouraged his aspirations. However, as allegations of infidelity, emotional distancing, and mounting animosity started to surface in the public eye, their relationship had been silently falling apart behind the scenes. Bambi and Scrappy did not publicly admit anything, but they appeared to be keeping up for the cameras, the kids, and the brand, much like many other celebrity couples. These three beautiful kids made up what seemed to be a blended, loving family. But beyond the red carpet grins and photo opportunities was what was seething. As their meticulously crafted romance unfolded, a storm was brewing in the background. The first spark of light was a strange message that alluded to a reality that even the most loyal admirers weren't ready to accept. The majority of people at the time believed that Bambi's most recent Instagram post was trolling, but in retrospect, that was the first sign of trouble. One comment has since been removed. You may think you've heard it all, but hold on, because, according to Scrappy, we'll learn about the hidden child Bambi never mentioned and how it ruined everything. At first, the idea that someone from Bambi's past was going to make surprising public statements about a child who wasn't Scrappy's, a child that Scrappy supposedly didn't even know existed, rather than about money or adultery seemed too wild. As a mother and wife, Bambi had always been extremely loyal, vocal about her family, and protective of her kids. But over time, copies of old Facebook postings and old pictures started to appear. Then, in a sloppy live stream, a lady who claimed to be the child's relative came forward and said that Bambi had a child from a past relationship. The saddest aspect is that the child was the early years of their marriage. This relative claimed that the child was old enough to remember not being included in Bambi's new life with Scrappy. A real growing youngster who watched from the sidelines while Bambi had a picture-perfect life on TV, raising her new children while supposedly acting as though he didn't exist, is what we're talking about. Not a baby who was placed for adoption or a child born under traumatic circumstances. The images then appeared at first hazy, then sharper, revealing a boy who resembled. When social media investigators got to work, it was impossible to resist finding parallels, such as the same eyes and face structure. This was Bambi's hidden child, according to the theory, but the real drama began when Scrappy responded by canceling a planned podcast appearance and being noticeably absent from public events. Scrappy's response was not words, but rather that eerie silence that says everything uncharacteristically quiet on social media. When he did speak, it was in a spontaneous, emotional live stream with tears in his eyes rather than with a formal statement. You spend your entire life believing you know someone, believing you all created this life together, And then one day you realize you were just a guest in their story, he said, looking directly into his supporters' eyes. It is painful. Supporters were surprised that Scrappy didn't mention names, but he didn't need to, because his voice betrayed more pain than words could. Sources close to the family disclosed that Scrappy had lately discovered the truth from someone Bambi as the timetable started to line up. He apparently confronted her about it, and the exchange was not pleasant. One insider claims that justify keeping the child a secret. Bambi claimed she was underlying. Their marriage was this unspoken secret, which was a ticking time bomb. As he held back his tears during his live stream, he questioned, "How do you trust someone again after that?" But wait, it gets worse, into a downward spiral. We'll get into that in the next section, but just know. Because Bambi deliberately concealed a large part of her life from him for years, while he devoted himself to their family, Scrappy felt betrayed, not because she had a past. We'll examine the emotional breakdown, the celebrity reactions, and how Scrappy's mother, Mama D, flung herself into the drama with her own receipts once this news was revealed. The damage had been done, and the truth had been revealed. But no one, not even die-hard fans, was prepared for the unfiltered emotion that erupted from Lil Scrappy in the days that followed. In pain, who was collapsing under the weight of betrayal. Misunderstanding and public humiliation was involved in this story, which went beyond another celebrity breakup. Normally the tough guy, Scrappy started blogging strangely late at night. Is it ever clear to you that you didn't lose her? Following the now famous Instagram live meltdown that was streamed at almost 2 a.m, one post said, "You just finally saw who she really was. I centered everything on her. I sacrificed possibilities for others, and now I feel like I have no idea who I married." A man lamenting the family he believed he had was experiencing shock grief, not simply heartbreak. All of a sudden, the world saw Scrappy sitting by himself in a darkened studio, struggling to express his emotions, his hands shaking and his voice cracking. After staring at the camera for a long, agonizing minute, he whispered, "Furthermore." Within hours of Scrappy's live stream, Mama D's candid, uncensored mother joined the conversation and, as usual, failed to appear. On Instagram, she shared a strange quotation that said, "Lies don't age well, especially when receipts exist." She showed a video montage of old family images with subtitles like, "The truth always surfaces," and what appeared to be screen grabs of earlier exchanges between her and Bambi, during which Bambi allegedly told Mama D to stay out. During a live session with her supporters, Mama D disclosed personal secrets about herself, suggesting that she didn't want to talk about certain topics for the sake of harmony. "You don't know the half," she declared, "and I stayed silent for his sake, but now I'm done being silent." Mama D asserted that even though she opposed it, she chose to keep quiet since she respected her son's marriage and had known about the child the entire time. "I told her your past doesn't define you," she added, referring to the years before the marriage when she had pushed Bambi to tell Scrappy the truth. "She gave me a direct look before saying, 'It's handled.'" The word "handled" has now been used in every podcast and blog, causing public outrage, sincere confessions, and receipts to circulate online. Supporters began attacking Bambi, and comments were overflowing with questions such as, "How do you keep a whole child a secret? Scrappy deserves better." Everything that has gone wrong in their marriage is now clear, but the issue is that not everyone supported Scrappy. Some people began to question although there were disagreements on the internet, one thing was evident. Mama D was incensed, Scrappy was sad, and the idea of a perfect family was shattered, possibly irreparably. Some argued that Bambi may have been kept concealed because of trauma, custody disputes, or emotional sorrow, while others conjectured that Scrappy was exploiting the scenario to garner sympathy amid other business or legal concerns. Hold on. Tight, though, because we're going to get into Chapter 4, which deals with the consequences of divorce, custody disputes, and the stakes for public reputations. After the passionate Instagram lives and emotional breakdowns, you won't believe who showed up and what they had to say. The internet has already taken sides, with followers feeling either suspicious of Bambi's quiet or sad for Lil Scrappy. The couple's battle was no longer only emotional, though, as court documents that emerged days after Scrappy's now viral livestream verified that he had filed for divorce and wasn't just walking away quietly, according to people familiar with the situation. The blogger was informed by a source within Fulton County Court that this isn't just about the hidden child anymore. It's about trust, parental fitness, and whether or not Bambi's choices could impact the well-being of the kids they already have. Because Bambi's pattern of secrecy and deliberate lying had eroded confidence in the home, Scrappy's legal team was getting ready to demand full or joint custody of their 3 children. Worse, Scrappy's team was also seeking proof of emotional suffering, alleging that Bambi's choice to deny the existence of her supposed child had detrimental effects on her mental health. At this point, the situation deteriorated even further. Bambi didn't give up. In fact, she filed a motion in defense, alleging that Scrappy was influencing public opinion in his favor by manipulating emotions and slandering the public. If she felt it was in her child's best interest, her legal team argued, she had every right to keep that part of her life private, and any child from a previous relationship was none of his concern prior to marriage. She asserted that public scrutiny and media exploitation could endanger the child if their identity were made public, but the public wasn't. The co-parenting drama then erupted, with Scrappy apparently demanding modifications to the custody arrangement, more time with the children, and a requirement that all handoffs be conducted in public or through a third party. He reportedly informed friends that he could no longer trust her with his peace, and guess who couldn't help but add thoughts? Mama D, in a since-deleted message. As the story developed, social media investigators discovered old Love and Hip Hop, clips in which Bambi made vague allusions to things she had to give up in a past, simply helped to strengthen the theories. Replied, "A snake sheds its skin, but it's still a snake. That's all I'm going to say." The underlying message was clear, even if she didn't mention Bambi by name, and fans immediately took offense. In the meantime, Scrappy's emotional state in the public spotlight continued to deteriorate. He began to miss performances, retreat from brand endorsements, and even had multiple Instagram postings taken down, including multiple photos of him with Bambi and their kids. In a particularly distressing message, he only stated, "Everything I believed in was a lie. Pray for me." The couple's pals claimed that Scrappy. He still wanted a quiet ending for the kids, but he was apparently torn inside since he still loved the version of Bambi he thought he married, which is why this whole incident is so tragic. Identity, trust, and the ultimate betrayal of omission that persists long after the cameras have stopped rolling were at the center of this issue, which was not your average cheating scenario. But what no one is discussing is the rumor that Bambi may not have on her own and may have been under duress to keep the child a secret. We may never know, but we do know that the family is destroyed, the internet isn't ready to let the story go, and this Scrappy's heart is crushed. And just when it seemed like things couldn't get any more crazy, a new player entered the scene. She allegedly threatened to take legal action or to take personal revenge if she attempted to incorporate the child into her new household. The child's father may possibly be a well-known someone who didn't want his identity linked to the whole reality TV scandal, according to several insiders. The dialogue